We are live.
So, okay, I was running an errand. I have to share this story with you. It's a beautiful day. It was in the morning. I mean, it literally was an amazing day. I was in a great mood. I saw like wildlife and I put the windows down for a little bit and heard birds chirping. I saw these squirrels like literally playing with each other and kind of running into the road to the point where I was like, oh God, be careful. And so
All the time
it came like really close to the car. So I almost stopped my car, checked to see if the car wasn't back of me, almost stopped my car, saw it scurry away. And I was like, and as I was driving away, I was like, God, please protect these squirrels. They're just trying to have a good time because this is a road that gets a lot of traffic in the morning. And I ran my errand. It literally couldn't have been 12 minutes. I'm on my way back home. There's the squirrel in the middle of the road, like with its hands up and like looking up, completely, obviously run over. It was in the exact same spot. It had to have been one of those squirrels. And it actually like hurt my heart because it was kind of like a metaphor for life. Like, it's so wonderful. It's so beautiful. Humans, not so much, but the world itself and nature and the ocean and the sun, it's so beautiful and there's so much promise. Yeah. But just like that, things change. You make a decision. Life happens. People, for the most part, people happen because it's not, let's just face it, that squirrel would still be alive if the car wasn't probably speeding on that street at 8:10 in the morning where it shouldn't be. Yeah. Right? Some loser, asshole, selfish creep wasn't doing something he shouldn't have been, that squirrel would still be alive. Sounds small, right? But the squirrel, right? It's like a metaphor. And for me, and why I was so hurt by it was like, there's a lot of people in this world and in America that are kind of like that squirrel.
And I think industrialization, like the bigger your vehicle gets, the smaller everything else is.
The smaller the man, the bigger the vehicle, the faster they go.
Pickup truck, especially around this place. Everybody has a pickup truck, and sometimes you can't see.
Yeah.
In
front, and they don't care. Well, they don't care because they, I think people are very unaware and aloof and kind of like in their own worlds anyways. I think that's how they live their life. So I'm assuming that's how they drive their cars.
I've almost crashed here multiple times swerving out because they like run and then it's like, oh wait, I'm nervous. I'm going to run back. And it's like, I thought I was clear. I thought you're going there. So then I got to swerve over
But
here.
Isn't it I think the heartbreaking part was that I felt so elevated seeing them. And I was so worried driving away. And within 12 minutes, all of my fears came true. Life changed like that. The squirrel is dead. Yet another roadkill. Splat. And that, where's his wife? Where's his friend? They were having such a good time. And I'm sure that's happened to dozens of people just between when it happened and when I'm telling you that story. Yeah. It's happened to people in this country. So I think that's why we're going to do this poo pile, right? We talked about where are we going to shop now? We can't shop at certain places anymore. Target's gone. Walmart's gone. Home Depot and Lowe's have always been DTM. Ford, like all these places, F them, right? So where do we go? First, let's call all these effers out.
Yeah.
And then at some point, we'll talk about where to go. But the poo pile is going to be for all of the creeps and not just Elon Musk's and Don Trump and Josh Shapiro and all these like real creeps, and people that are just not good people. But we're going to call out all of the businesses in the poo pile. Like, we're going to dump all those businesses in that pile and let you figure out, you know what? I'm not going to give them any more of my hard-earned money. Because it's hard, right? I would like to know where to stop spending my money so that I know I am not fueling any more hatred or any more racism or I don't want to help any businesses that are just out for themselves. I just don't.
No, in a capitalist system, especially if they're publicly traded, that is like their duty is profit and profit at all costs. Even like Ben and Jerry's,
Ben and Jerry's is great though. Ben and Jerry's supports diversity.
Yes, but they were bought out by, I believe, Unilever. So they still keep their corporate
Ben and Jerry's ice cream company?
Yeah.
Are you sure? But Unilever is a big, huge corporation, but they're not making a stand on anti-diversity and anti-equality. We're talking about organizations like Ford, like Walmart, like now Target, like even Amazon with them fighting unions and Jeff Bezos buying the Washington Post and not endorsing Kamala, even after they wanted to. By the way, I wasn't a Kamala fan. I wouldn't have endorsed her either. But if my editor is like, dude, I'm putting the story, that's why you buy a newspaper, is to put out stories, not to have your own political agenda honored. So it's like, I think Amazon belongs in the poo pile. And by the way, poo is an acronym for people over oligarchy. So that's where all of that crap is going to go. All those people that perpetuate it's going to go, and all their businesses are going to go. So if you are looking for a place to know where not to shop, the poo pile is for you. And that's coming soon. We've got to get some time to put it all together, but I think it's going to be a great resource for people.
Definitely.
We're going to expand it, and it's not just going to be businesses. Maybe we're going to talk about, a guy that owns Airbnb, I think is kind of like a greedy prick. I don't know.
They did have issues in their past, too, against discriminating against people of color who were...
Oh, is that right?
Requests to rent places from people of color were systematically denied. And that was okay for a while.
Yeah, anything that's not okay or that... really,
it has to be exposed. And it's like on an individual level, you can't know if you're being discriminated against, but then people start talking and you wind up with like subreddits and conversations online, and people are like, wait a second, that happened to me too. That's a little weird. That's a little coincidental. And then you have other people who've been like, I've never had an issue. And it's like, well, are you white and straight and
or you see like crapola on Facebook and you think it's actually real and it's not. I would like a place where it's kind of been vetted, that these companies really don't have the majority of people's best interests at heart. And those are the people over oligarchy. Anything that falls in that is going to go in the poo pile. So that you're rest assured that it's already been kind of researched to some degree.
So Ben & Jerry's is owned by Unilever. They're also...
but is Unilever a bad corporation?
Unilever themselves is not great. They've signed,
I know they're not cruelty free, which sucks. And I only, by the way, I use an app called Cruelty Cutter. Now I've been ethical vegan now for so many years that I don't even need it anymore. But there's an app called Cruelty Cutter, and maybe we'll come up with our own app at some point.
Yes.
Where you just scan and if an animal was tortured for that product, you won't buy it. And maybe we do the same thing with this.
Yes. And so the thing about Unilever is they themselves may not be great and conduct animal testing to sell in other countries, but the brands that they buy, they've been good about keeping that brand's values. Like the Ben & Jerry's still runs by their three.
Didn't they buy Mayors?
No. S.C. Johnson bought Myers, and then Unilever bought Seventh Generation.
Got it.
And Seventh Generation, to sell to them, was the agreement is you have to keep our same practices. No animal testing with our products. None of that. And you have to keep the ingredients the same. Like you can't cheapen out and not use these like plant-based, more expensive ingredients. You can't do that. You can't mess with our products and our values. Same thing with Ben & Jerry's. Apparently not fully as good as Ben & Jerry themselves, but they're keeping the three values of profitability for everyone around them. And
can I tell you what I like about Ben & Jerry's? By the way, their stuff is really, really fattening, so I don't eat it all the time. However, they have an amazing array of non-dairy ice creams that are out of this. They are incredible. There's an oatmeal cream pie.
Yeah. It
is so good. There's a strawberry cheesecake, 9 dairy, and those are their 2 lowest fat flavors. They are unbelievable. And now that I'm boycotting Target next, about what I've done to like reduce spending for any corporations that, I don't think should be getting my money. But Ben & Jerry's actually delivers depending on your zip code.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I'm going to start doing that eventually.
Their 3-part mission is, product quality, economic reward, and commitment to the community.
That should be, by the way, basic. In order to do business in the United States, those should be tenets. But that's a problem with our society now in America. Like, I am a firm believer in capitalism. But what's going on in America now is...
But not unrestrained capitalism.
It's unrestrained. It's not only unrestrained, but it's corrupt. And it's insane. And it's... look, to put it in just layman's terms, the world is getting worse, not better. And it's exponentially getting worse. And that's why we're here.
Because we're 2 people.
We're trying to make it a little bit less hazy, bring things to light, but also keep it fun and fresh and talk. We're not just going to talk about dark stuff and politics and all this stuff. Like this week, we're going to talk about TV.
Yes.
Which I think is, TV might be the best thing ever. I don't know if I love eBay for charity. I'm not going to lie. But TV is so good. Can I talk about what I'm watching?
Yes. Talk about what you're watching.
So it's totally okay. Have you ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Do you know what that is?
Of course,
right?
yes.
Do you know who Sarah Michelle Gellar is?
Yes, the blonde.
The blonde lead. She was Buffy, yes. Who I love. She's been in a ton of stuff. I actually really like her as a person, even though I've never met her. I just like her vibe. I think she's cute. I think she's really attractive. And I think she's good at what she does. She was in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes, I've seen that, yes.
Which is also getting a reboot. So we'll talk about movies in another episode.
Wasn't she like a lawyer in something?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe on Cruel Intentions. I don't remember the plot of that.
What's her name again? I know her.
It's Sarah Buffy, Michelle Gellar. You might be thinking of Reese Witherspoon. Ugh. No, not her. I don't know.
No. I know.
She was in Legally Blonde. All right, anyways, okay, here's what I'm watching on TV. So Buffy is coming back, before we lose sight of important current events. Coming back, I guess without Angel, who's David Boreanaz. Buffy's sister on the show, Michelle Trachtenberger, she just died, or Trachtenberg just died yesterday.
Who was that?
She played Buffy's little sister on the show. I guess look, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. She was only 39. She had like some liver problem. She played Buffy's daughter, Dawn. So she's, and R.I.P. to Michelle Trachtenberger. It breaks my heart. But,
she's just been young.
She was 39.
Yeah.
What she did. And on the show, she was like, I don't know, 15. Like, I think she played someone who was like 12 even.
Yeah. I was off there because it was Do Revenge on Netflix, a really good movie with a super good twist that you'll never see coming. She was the headmaster at the school. That's why, not a lawyer. She wore a suit.
Do Revenge.
Do Revenge. So good. You got to check it out.
I swear that came up on Bloody Disgusting. I like horror movies.
It was really good.
Is it a horror movie?
In a way, it is. It's a comedy thriller. Like there is a little bit of horror, I guess, sort of. But the twist is just, you never see it coming.
Oh, don't say any more. I don't even watch previews because I need to go in because I'll get bored. And you know what I mean?
I've known people like that won't watch the trailers.
I cannot watch a trailer or else thank you for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Some of them even have a portion of the ending and the climax in the trailers. It's like, why would you even
try to hook people? But sometimes they give away too much. Yeah. Like you have to do it well where it's intrigue and you leave people guessing completely. Like
I have noticed.
I need to see.
And trailers. And I heard that they were changing things years ago, that they were changing it from, like, talk about AI. They were changing trailers from being manually edited, and you'll know more about this because this is your industry, to being, edited by a machine.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing now, because, sometimes the trailers come on without you wanting them to, like on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, auto starts, yeah.
And I'm noticing, like, sometimes I'll be in the kitchen, I'm doing something, whatever, I'm distracted. And it'll play without me stopping it. I'm like, God, even just listening to it, it was so poorly done. Are you noticing now that trailers are not as good as they used to be because it's not a human being doing the editing?
I've been watching a lot of older stuff, but in general, like I don't have to watch ads anymore because I guess I never liked it. Like even trailers for movies, it's like, except for, what was it? The Good Robot or what was,
iRobot?
No, it's a new one from DreamWorks that was really good. Again, The Wild Robot, that's what it's called. Animated movie. And I was very intrigued by the trailer for that. It definitely gave away a little too much in the way that it kind of shows the friendship that evolves and you think the robot, it's got to get to know someone, but you kind of already know ahead of time. But it bonds like it's an AI robot that winds up dropped off a ship.
Oh, no spoilers.
This is the basic premise. Like if you read it, it's
even the trailer would give
the robot gets lost in the woods and it learns everything around it.
I kind of like it, but is it animated? Because I don't really do all that.
It is, but the animation is really good. It's DreamWorks. They've gotten. They have some of the best movies, like Shrek. You've never seen Shrek before?
I have. I watched it when it first came out on like video. I think I rented it from Blockbuster.
If you're not a fan of animated movies,
it was okay, but I didn't I know there's been it
was like anti-Disney though. The only princess who she didn't need Shrek. She beat him up, and she beat up all the people who tried to abduct her, and she was also an ogre. So she chose to be if she kissed Shrek, she would be an ogre for life. If she married the prince like her family wanted her to, she would stay a woman, or a human woman. And she chose to be an ogre princess.
Yeah, so love who you love.
Exactly.
Not what society tells you to do. It's kind of
Disney is having all these movies with, like, the Snow White has to be kissed and she's literally under glass, like breaking the glass ceiling. We're talking about like decades before that phrase even existed. And Disney is depicting that. You need this man to come save you. You're trapped.
Is that what originated breaking the glass ceiling? Was the glass encasing of Snow White?
I don't know. I've looked it up and it's like multiple people had said that before, but
the glass ceiling is supposed to be it's supposed to be this like intangible, invisible, but it's there only for certain marginalized people, like women.
And the story in general, put it into like the public awareness, and then it evolved from that. Because I feel like that was the original depiction of a woman under the glass ceiling, and you needed the man to come save you.
Interesting. Wow.
So Shrek was very like, and Disney's going to buy Shrek. They bought it for $10 billion, even though it was the anti-Disney movie.
Should we just scrap this podcast now and go back into entertainment? All right. So
no, we were talking about entertainment. So let's continue.
Speaking of which, all right. So welcome back, Buffy. The sooner, the better. I'm watching Hacks. I love it. I've not caught on to a comedy. The other two was okay.
I did see that. That was a funny show.
Okay. I love Wanda Sykes. There was some of the best. They had some, not consistently, but once in a blue moon, they would drop this joke bomb that would be so good. There was this one like little side bit character, like she was an assistant, and she said something like,
"Oh my God, I love her."
Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes, the one.
She's like, "Oh my God, he had like 100 lawyers there, and they were so hot. They were all like 25." And she's like, "Oh my God, really?" And then she's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry. He had like 25 lawyers there. They were all like 100. Ugh." Like, she got it all twisted. I'm not even saying it as funny, but her delivery was perfect.
No, yes.
She needs an Oscar, that assistant girl. Anyway, so the other two was only good the first two seasons. I got to season 3, episode 1, and it was such a dud. I didn't laugh once that I gave up on the show.
They did. Oh, well, you should continue because they did give the.
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me anything. I don't like to know. Don't tell me anything. But should I give season 3 another chance? Because season 3, episode 1 was a waste of my time.
Yeah, I'm not going to reveal anything. What I'm saying is the character we both like gets way more time in. It's like they picked up that she is comedy gold. She was only in like 2 episodes, and she was like an assistant at the agency. Yeah, working with the one guy with the like.
No, she was working with Shuli, I think, didn't she? Anyway, all right, let's sidebar on the other two, but because that's not even on my list. The list that I made to talk about were just like the heavy hitters in my, like this week's TV watching, but also I think maybe for this year because it's that good. So Hacks, I will say about Hacks, and by the way.
Okay, you know what? It is Hacks. The assistant I'm thinking of is Hacks. Okay, so we were talking about a different person.
Wait, the assistant and I don't like. Okay, I don't like her. I'm starting to like her. So I'm only on season 2 of Hacks.
Okay, then in the third
season, bugged. She was too much. She was like that booger, like because I worked in entertainment and we've had not quite.
She's a nepo baby.
We've had so many nepo babies and so many of them were just drains. And I worked in that area where we had no choice but to work with those people. Never as bad as her, but so many of them were as useless as her. And I think that's where I was kind of like, I'm not entertained by this. But I can see her turning a corner in season 2. Does she continue to turn?
She continues to turn. I won't give anything away, but she becomes who she needed to be. Like she gets a character arc. She is not just one dimensional, that nepo baby who is a booger, as you called her.
She's a booger, but she's also like rich and connected and
like,
she's untouchable. So
exactly, yes. She can get. I like that she can get away with basically anything, and she does a lot of stuff, like her whole pretend sexual relationship with him, whatever. Like,
all right, well, she's starting to give stuff away.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying to censor, but it's like, how do I describe this without revealing details?
We're going to come back to Hacks later, but I'm watching White Lotus. I'm only on season 3, episode 1.
You started season 3?
Did
you watch the first 2?
1 and 2 all in a row.
I have not seen season 3 yet. Waiting to start.
Okay, I'm not going to reveal anything, but season 3, episode 1 was part.
It was.
It was actually like an SBD. It was so bad.
Is what's her name back?
It was an SBD under the covers. It was like a Dutch oven. It was so bad. I almost turned it off. But you can't. You can't snooze on White Lotus because they do have
exactly, and you have a lot of information to get through on the first episode, and reintroduce its new people every time. But what's her?
I'm not going to tell you.
No, but what's her name?
Jennifer Coolidge. I'm not going to tell you.
She's not. Okay, you're not going to tell me if she's back.
Well, because I can't say what happened. Because
I didn't watch the trailer
for season 2. We don't do spoilers on the show for people that want to listen and watch these shows from the start. But I will say, speaking of Nepo babies, I just found out this morning that on White Lotus, I don't really watch credits. Like whenever I can skip, I always skip. So I don't know, and I don't know like what's in the news or who's getting cast on what. But I found out that a kind of pretty big Nepo baby is on season 3 of White Lotus. And so I like that character even less than I did originally. So I'm just not, it wasn't a good episode and I'm not invested and I don't like watching Nepo babies. I just don't. They can start on some like little tidbit like Friday the 13th ripoff horror movie. That's how a Nepo baby should start. Just like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Not on like a big hit show on Max. I hate that. Because obviously strings were pulled. I don't care how many times you have to audition.
Yeah.
I hate that.
And it's now part of a giant conglomerate. It's a Discovery Group.
Yeah, it's a buzzkill just like every other industry.
Daddy.
Yeah. 100%.
So
do you know which Nepo baby I'm talking about or no?
No, but
okay.
I mean, if I watch the trailer, I'm sure I'm going to see them. That's why I'm like, just tell us.
Oh, but I don't know. Oh,
you don't know her name?
Oh, I do. It's a him. It's Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Patrick Schwarzenegger? Never heard of him, but I'm guessing I know his daddy.
Exactly. Anyway, so he's on, and I don't like the character anyway, but now I like it less because I'm not a big Nepo baby fan. You're obviously familiar with Gabby Petito.
Who do they play and what?
Gabby Petito was the van life girl who was murdered she was murdered, I think, in Wyoming, but remember Moab, Utah, that piece of garbage shit, less than shit, because shit once had a purpose. Brian Laundrie and his whole disgusting family. Remember Gabby Petito?
Yes.
The girl, it gives me chills. I can barely talk just thinking about it. Anyway, American Murder on Netflix, Gabby Petito, it interviews her parents, both sets of parents, and it has like, obviously somebody got her cell phone, probably her parents. And there's like all this footage, including the last post that she posted. And it just shows you what pieces of shit the Laundrie family.
Okay, we have to give.
They raised a murderer and this family. Oh
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Patrick Schwarzenegger.
You got to give him a little. He's been in over a dozen kind of stupid movies since 2006. He's been in stuff. The Benchwarmers.
Are you saying that he did fulfill my...
he definitely did his time. We're talking about The Benchwarmers, one of those stupid...
Right, but The Benchwarmers was like 12 years ago. He was probably only 10 years old.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of other things.
He shouldn't have even gotten that because he's 10 years old.
Stuck in Love.
He was a child actor.
The Terminal List in 2022. Stowaway in 2021. Secret Level, that was 2024.
I never heard of any of these things. So maybe he did.
Either smaller time. Grown Ups. I don't know if you ever saw that.
No, but I feel like that was a big movie. I think Jennifer Aniston was in that.
Yeah, and Adam Sandler.
Yeah, so they're big stars. So he's not, unless it's
that was 2013
tidbit role.
Yeah, he mostly did tidbit roles, and I guess he's visually appealing. Is he attractive?
So what did Patrick Schwarzenegger say?
He said, "I know there are a lot of people who say I only got this role because of who my dad is."
Oh, he's already addressing it. Well,
because
look,
people that's what I said to people online are like, he's only in White Lotus because White Lotus is insanely popular.
Which I can't believe because it's nothing more than a soap opera. You might as well
the music, the artistry, the camera, like the way it's directed,
the location. I get it.
It's really good. And the way they set up the mysteries, it keeps you intrigued every episode. He said they're not seeing that I've had 10 years of acting classes, put on high school plays every week, worked on my characters for hours, and of hundreds of rejected auditions I've been on.
All right. Okay.
But how many people get hundreds of rejections and never get the White Lotus role? Most actors, yes. So,
but I'm going to give him props because that is respectable and appropriate and it makes sense. And I now will give White Lotus season 3 a chance because I appreciate that. And by the way, his character is kind of studly.
No, and
like, he's got a really good body, but it's not overly muscular. And he's like, his face is above average. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's good.
But he is made to be hated. He's the detestable finance bro.
You hate him you do hate him. You hate him.
I feel like that character setup doing a good job. Extra nepo criticism because apparently it blew up. Like,
no, I'm glad because you know what that means. He's doing a good job because you do. If his goal is to make somebody hate him, you do. And I'm not going to spoil it.
Automatically, people don't like nepo baby, so maybe they cast him because he's supposed to be.
No,
hated.
He's such a cocky asshole. But you can't help but think, like, whether you're a woman or gay or you're Don Trump and just respecting the fact that he's like a big old stud, like Arnold Palmer. But you, all of us are thinking, you know what? He is sexy. Like, I hate him, but I may fuck him. You know what I mean?
Even the people who don't agree with Luigi Mangione at all.
I later saw you were talking about his abs, now he's not my type at all.
Yeah,
he does have a good body, and he is sexy. I think it's a problem.
Apparently, it is a problem, especially in the prison, because people are sending him pictures. So many pictures. They had to warn the public, like, you do know what? We inspect all of these. So we see all these pictures.
Are they sending him panties and, like, condoms?
And a lot of nude pictures. You can't send that stuff in. Just a lot of nude pictures.
Oh, they take it away from him so he doesn't even have them?
No, he gets them, but it's like, you do know that all the prison guards see these pictures and you have no privacy.
They confiscate them once you send them.
Like. Yeah. Or just take a picture of it. Like, it would be so easy. These people are exposing themselves.
Are they saying that he also gets dick pics, or is it just females?
No, from everyone. Yes.
I'm sure. I mean, if anybody's going to be brazen, it's going to be a gay guy who sees those abs and is like, please, mama, come home. Look, let's face it. If Harvey Weinstein looked like Armie Hammer, would he have gone to jail?
Probably not.
For real, do you honestly believe that? I believe if Harvey Weinstein, with all the stuff that he did, if he looked like Armie Hammer, he would have gotten away with it.
But maybe he wouldn't have had to do such creepy things if
Armie Hammer has done some. Are you kidding? Armie Hammer, I think, has done some crazy stuff. I don't think it's as bad, but it is creepy for sure. But dude, if you ever watch like Call Me by Your Name, you're gonna fall in love with Armie Hammer. He's a really handsome.
I actually don't know who he is, but
he's a good actor. You've never seen the movie Call Me by Your Name?
Mm-mm.
It is probably the best gay movie ever made. And it's not just for gays. It's talk about cinematography and the ambiance, like everything from like the crickets to the birds chirping to the like the sun setting, like just like how White Lotus like really immerses you into wherever you are, whether it's Italy or Thailand, right? Call Me by Your Name was that same way. We're topic surfing a little bit. It's such an amazing movie.
He just broke silence on cannibalism allegations.
He would. It was something like he'd want to have sex with them and then would threaten to eat them or something. It was crazy. And
what is wrong with Hollywood?
No, I know. But guess what? That's what I'm saying. So Armie Hammer has done some creepy things, or alleged, right? But if Harvey Weinstein looked like him, do you think he would have even done a minute in prison?
Probably not.
I think so too. Because guess what? That's our system.
Yeah.
That's our system, dude. Our system is so broken. There's a guy that I just heard about. I think his name is Alex Ross. He killed his whole family. He killed his parents. He killed his brother. He even killed the family dog because, quote, he didn't want to leave a witness. Our system, he had money though, and he hired a good attorney. Guess how much time he got for 3 murders, including obviously animal cruelty and the murder of the dog.
But it gets less than 10 years.
He got 22 years. However, he may not have to serve that many of them, right?
Yeah, with
right? Because we can't afford to keep people in. We don't want to pay for their health care. We don't want to pay for all the things that everybody else has to pay for their stuff. Prisoners don't have to pay for shit, right? So the month that he's in there, his very first month, I'm pretty sure it was in his very first month, but very soon after he gets locked up, he tries to escape. Holds a gun, not a gun, a knife to a guard's neck, steals a truck, tries to bust through the fence. The barbed wire gets hooked onto the tire, and that's the only reason what stalled the truck. Otherwise, it would have made it out of the prison. And then one of the fellow escapees got shot in the head, and he finally surrendered. So he might get an extra 5 years for that, but he's only got 22 plus 5. Shouldn't it be 22 plus 5 for each person that he killed? And then
a life sentence.
Chop his head off for killing the dog too, because animal abusers always end up doing worse stuff, raping women, committing murders. Like that's a fact of life. That's a clinical fact of life that animal abusers always go on to do more, egregious crimes.
You start with animals, and
they always start with animals. So it's like, dude, you have people like that. Our system is not, people that have done child pornography get like 40 years.
Yeah.
We have murderers that killed 4 innocent beings, and they get half of that time. Even after they try to escape, they're still below those. And I think that's because of like the Bible beaters of the world and all this. Look, child pornography is wrong. Let's face it. I'm glad they served that time. But shouldn't murder always be the worst? Shouldn't multiple murder always be punished worse?
Of course, yes.
It's insane. It's completely insane. So
again, we disagree. I believe life in prison,
not
death penalty. But
here's the thing. Okay, before we get back to Gabby Petito, and this is very important because I hate the Laundrie family so much, and this episode cannot be 4 hours long, but I believe in the death penalty because we cannot afford to house them. Do you know that they're letting out older prisoners now that have committed multiple murders because we don't want to pay for their health care, because we don't have the money to pay for their health care? So it's not just housing. It's not just their electricity. It's not just that we have slaughterhouses just for prisons, that we're putting food on their table, steaks, eggs, ham, all these many animals, billions a year have to die so our prisoners can be well fed. So we're doing all that, and we're giving them free healthcare. Our own Americans don't get free healthcare.
Yeah. And
we're giving our prisoners free healthcare until we can't pay for them anymore. And then those that were supposed to have a life sentence, we're setting them free. So to your point, and by the way, I love your heart. I love that you feel like a life is a life, and it's not necessarily an eye for an eye when you take a life, that life in prison is what you get. But what happens when the fact is you don't have the money to keep somebody in jail for life? Would you then say, well, we have to kill them because we can't let that person back in society?
But too many people go to prison that, like, we're talking about crimes that they shouldn't be sent to prison for. Like, we're now more highly criminalizing, like it'll be a felony if you steal from a store. Like,
right, but that's not a death penalty crime.
No, but once you wind up in the system, you usually wind up back because you're not able to get a job somewhere. Your record is tainted. People automatically don't want to hire you because you have a record.
No, I totally agree.
So life winds up worse.
I totally agree with that, but it does not excuse anybody going to the point of once you kill somebody, with all these, it's irredeemable.
Yes. And we could house these people for life if we cut down on the budget of like profit for these systems to keep people in prison and keep.
I wish we could, because here's the thing. I wouldn't believe in the death penalty if we were in a society that actually worked the way it's supposed to. Because when we say, look, we're going to punish you, this is the most egregious crime. One, we have to have a criminal justice system that works for everybody.
Yeah.
So the Casey Anthonys of the world, and this scumbag that tried to poison that got, or I can't remember her name anymore, but she killed her partner with poison or whatever, and then she got released on a technicality.
What about the guy who set the forest fires in California?
What about O.J. Simpson? Let's just call it the way it is.
Yeah.
People that can afford good attorneys will have a different justice.
100% versus public offenders or public defenders who have hundreds of cases and they have like 5 minutes with you to go on.
And how much did the Dream Team cost OJ? In today's dollars, it was like $60 million in today's dollars. $60 million. And I think back then it was probably like $25 million. Who's got $25 million?
Yeah.
Everybody knows OJ killed Nicole and Ron, but he got away with it. So the problem is, the problem is our system. But my view on the death penalty is based on our current system, based on our current society. This is not just a problem, an existential problem of like faith and belief and all that. We cannot our society, we can't afford to keep these people in prison how we want to.
Yeah.
So then what do? You either have to kill them or you put them back into society. And right now what's being done is they're coming back into society.
Yeah, we need prison reform.
But without reform, what do you do?
At what point when we're killing people, does it become like Nazi Germany, where people are...
Those are innocent people. We're talking about...
But they were being criminalized by the state. Like,
what about Alex Ross? Let's just talk about Alex Ross, for instance. He was caught. He admitted to it. It's all proven. There's no appeal in the world other than like jury malfeasance or some other thing that's a technical thing, right? But he obviously did it. He admitted to doing it. He killed 3 people and a dog, and he tried to escape and attempted murder on another guard. So at what point do we say this person is just a shit stain on society and it's not worth all the many lives how many lives have been destroyed? How about all their aunts, all their uncles, all their cousins? What about the animal? What about all the people that were affected by this one piece of garbage? How much more do we have to do for one person that's destroyed so many lives and taken the lives of 4 away before we kill them? I'm serious, because that is not a Nazi Germany thing. Those people are innocent people.
No, I'm not saying it is, but it's like, at what point does it go there? Like, where are we willing to draw the line on, like, being a civilized society? Yes, they broke the rules. So my thought process on it is, why would we justify killing because you killed? It's like anti to what, like, when a child hits another child, whatever, you can't spank them. You have like no hitting.
Look, I totally agree with that. I don't believe in violence, which is why I believe in the death penalty. Because if somebody is so unruly that they're going to kill, I mean, there's people that have killed multiple people, right? Not even just multiple.
No, we have a lot of domestic terrorism.
There's people that have killed shooters, dozens of people, and they're getting life in prison, and some of them don't spend life in prison. That is the whole point. So it's not just about where do we draw the line on, a life for a life, or what's wrong and what's right. Because in our society, I think this is like a discussion, because I thought we weren't going to go dark, and now we're going to the darkest place in the
we can get back to Gabby Petito.
I don't know. Maybe this is kind of like a testament to Gabby Petito and her, like, I get goosebumps thinking about her, because how many lives were destroyed by her murder? That's just one murder. He killed himself, thankfully, but he would have gotten life in prison, but he destroyed Gabby's life, took it away. She's never coming back. She's never getting out, right? She's gone forever. If somebody doesn't believe in God or heaven or whatever, that means her spirit, her energy is somewhere else and will never come back, ever. Mm-hmm. You'll never see that person again. Her family, her friends. How many hundreds of people were affected directly by that one death? Alex Ross, 3 deaths and the murder of a dog. So that's 4 deaths. How many hundreds and hundreds of people were negatively affected by that one person? How much time and energy and food and electricity and healthcare are we going to give to this one person who destroyed so many lives? That to me is not parallel to how we discipline our children and how we respond to conflict at a bar or on the playground or at school. That to me is a deal breaker. When you kill somebody, especially if you commit multiple murders, and there's absolutely no doubt that you did it, I do believe in our unfortunate society where we can't afford to house you for life, I do believe that the death penalty is appropriate.
Okay. With Gabby Petito, especially, there's a whole documentary. This was like worldwide news. Got a lot of coverage.
Because she is a cute, blonde, white girl.
How many, you're talking about how many families, like, how many black women, how many gay, transgender, especially, I'm looking at indigenous women, especially, and nothing happens. The numbers are so high
because nobody even talks about them. That to me, again, this is not some big existential thing. This is a problem with our society. It's not just one thing, though.
No, and just a quick stat, over the past 4 years, this is directly from Congress.gov.
And we can't fix society.
Black trans women murderers have more than tripled.
When?
Over the past 4 years, since 2021.
I believe it. because there's such.
And do you ever see a news story about a black trans woman being
and it's so upsetting.
Murdered?
Because haven't they been through enough already? That's what I always, whenever I talk about the trans community, I have nothing but love and I have nothing but hope for them, because I hope for a better life for them, because they already have it so hard. All of these pieces of garbage that judge people that have already so much going against them and they still succeed in life. Like, I would think that would be admirable instead of being like, oh, get away from me. Like,
but it doesn't, the thing is, it won't be covered because it doesn't sell.
Well, it won't be covered because there's so much animosity towards it, and nobody cares if they're missing.
Exactly.
There's probably a good faction of the public that are like, good. I'm glad they're gone.
Yeah.
And for those people, fuck you, because when you have a problem that's so grave, I hope somebody does the same thing to you and just says, you know what, it's too much for me. Just go away. Take all of your trashy problems away. You know, you're annoying.
73% of the murders were by gun. So, like I've said this quote before, it's like, first they come for the people I didn't like, they come for the people I liked, and they came for me. It's like, the problem is gun violence mainly. And yes, we have a somewhat racist, and sexist society. I mean, in our, 200 plus years as being a nation, we have never had a woman president, or even close.
No, it's
even when, like, I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. Do I think she would have been better than Trump? Yes.
Of course. That's a, come on.
In some ways,
and I'm not a fan either.
Apple, especially, Tim Cook is really bowing the knee to all that stuff. Like, for some reason, Suri, if you asked what the definition of a racist was, she said Donald Trump. And Apple apologized and said that they're fixing it. It was a bug in the algorithm.
Oh, so that's unbelievable.
I don't know how or why it learned that, but
why
that's
is
really
Apple
funny.
Apologizing?
Because Tim Cook is, best friends with Trump right now. He was at the inauguration. It's like,
I don't know if he's best
publicly
friends.
apologized.
And he's gay, right?
Yeah, he's gay.
So I hope, but see, that's the thing. I can, and look, I'm about to get another iPhone, right? We talked about this, which, by the way,
but where else would
Tim
you go?
Cook,
Sundar Pichai, he was there too.
Obsolescence. There's nowhere safe to shop where you have people that you believe in, that you're just proud of their success, and they happen to be the CEO of this big multi-billion-dollar company, and all is well in the world. And that's so cool because they come up with these great products.
Multi-trillion-dollar company.
Yeah.
That is how insane it is.
And Tim Cook is probably a really smart guy. I love that a gay guy is the CEO of Apple. But
yeah, but is he any better? It makes me kind of upset, like Pete Buttigieg or whatever, turning his back on Medicare for All. Medicare for All, who wanted. That means...
He did?
Yeah, he did.
But
he even wrote a paper in college praising...
He was the Secretary of Transportation. What does he have to do with Medicare for All?
I'm talking about when he was running for president.
I know, but he only ran for a blip.
Yeah, and then he stepped out because Obama called up him and Amy Klobuchar, and we're like, we need Biden. So...
I mean, look, Biden did win. It's interesting that Don could only beat women.
Trump.
Bernie could have beat Trump. Here's the problem. He
won in the first four states.
This was the episode we're not supposed to talk about politics. But we've already said it before that Trump can only beat women. He's only beat Hillary, and by the way, not by the popular vote. And he only beat Kamala because they probably splashed all those additional 4 million plus Democratic votes because of all the gerrymandering and other shenanigans. So it's like, okay, so he's beat women. So we're going to get the message. Look, we're gonna send a man. Maybe it's gonna be George Clooney. Maybe it's The Rock. It's gonna be some other celebrity. But we're gonna send that person up against whoever you're gonna bring. Republicans.
They need to have a working class background. I feel like that's Americans.
I don't know.
The businessman is what people are like. Oh, he can run a business, even though he ran them terribly.
Yeah.
Declared bankruptcy multiple times. Took total advantage of that system.
And he was born wealthy. It's not like he brought it up from nothing. You know
but that
Jeff Bezos, with all of his crap, like, he started Amazon from nothing.
Yeah, but it took Trump, a lot. Like, he would not be able to offer the fast delivery without the people who are breaking their backs doing.
True. Yeah.
He doesn't work himself. Like, he has mega yachts and is out with new girls and getting more Botox or whatever.
Oh,
for years, he really came into the, like, and this gets back into like pop culture, whatever we can talk about, but really into the scene of like billionaire class, like out at parties in his like leather
Who is this? This is
skin
Bezos?
shirt. Yeah, he looked so weird, and it's like he definitely got like implants in his arms, like bicep implants, because it just looks off. It doesn't look like
a real muscle.
It looks like it doesn't look like his full arms. It's like you made yourself like one of those suits, you know? It doesn't look right.
I kind of hope it goes necrotic, so he has to have it removed. You know what I mean? Like when like saline like leaks out of like a big, like if Lauren Sanchez's tip,
like if you take a pin to him, you could blow him up.
Oh my God. I do hope it gives him a problem. I'm sorry. Normally I don't do like Schadenfreude, but there's some people now where I'm just like so disgusted by them that I kind of like, I want to be able to get a good laugh at their expense, you know, because they're so vain and so selfish and so corrupt.
And they worked our tax system.
So greedy.
Yeah.
I'm just so sick of their asses. I cannot wait till look, there's an ebb and flow to everything. So as long as we, meaning good people, I don't know if they're Democrats, I don't know who they are, but hopefully there's good people in our government who are working to protect us so that we can make it to the next 2 years. And God forbid it's 4 years, but that we can still vote people out, that we still have all of these checks and balances that have not been obliterated. Because that could happen.
And sorry to get political, but if you are listening, contact your local congressperson, because the bill before the Senate right now, and then it will go before the House, is to give a $5 trillion cut to taxes for corporations and to take that money from Medicaid and Medicare. So they will cut those programs to give tax cuts again to the rich. That is what is up. And that's why Bernie was out there, you know.
And how many times did Don say, I don't care about Medicare. It's going to be here forever.
It's because Elon is in his ear. And you can't, like, the federal budget is basically Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and then the $1 trillion for the Pentagon. So we're not going to take it from, apparently we're going to give them another $100 billion.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I've said this from the beginning. I'm not a hater on Don. I personally, he's a big liar, let's face it. And he's so corrupt, among other things. And obviously, convicted, you know, he's not a good guy, but I'm not a hater on him. But it's the people around him that I actually do hate. I cannot stand that Alania is involved in our, like, government to the degree that he is. Like, he is really powerful in our government. And by the way, he's not even, like, he's from South Africa. If he was like some patriot, it would be like, maybe even like, yeah, you can figure that out. You know what I mean? But like, basically everything is wrong.
Yeah.
And I have not seen one, and I think his approval ratings are actually high, but I don't.
No, he's in negative. This is good. People are turning like, familiarity breeds contempt. His approval ratings are underwater. He's negative digits.
Is that true?
Yes.
Don Trump, his approval ratings?
No, not Don, Elanya. Is underwater. Trump's getting close. That's the thing. With him always being there around, like, he's a buffer right now for Trump. People don't hate Trump. They're blaming it all on Elanya.
But maybe that's but see, I think Don's smart. Maybe that's a good thing. That's
either he's going to kick him out. Yes, he's a scapegoat right now. Either he's going to kick him out or Elon's going to step down, because Tesla, for the first time in over a decade, their sales of cars have dropped, and they dropped under $1 trillion in market cap.
Who is still, first of all, Tesla is not cool anymore. Who's buying Tesla? Just Republicans?
I mean, most people who want an electric car, Teslas, and especially with the supercharging stations.
It sucks though. You can use those other cars. You can use a Chevy Bolt or a Polestar or a Rivian at a charging station.
I mean, have you, like, you don't public charge, do you? Like, I rented a car. I went to multiple stations, and either they're all filled, multiple of the things are broken, or won't charge the car. I wound up staying outside of a Whole Foods with the 7.5 kilowatt charger. And it was like, I'm just walking around waiting, because I was so worried. I was at like 13 miles, and it was like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Was it a Tesla charger?
No, I couldn't charge with the Tesla. I had a Kia, EV. Kia Niro EV, and I was so worried. And it was like, I couldn't go to the Tesla chargers, which always have open spots.
But then you're giving business to Tesla. It's a problem.
Yeah.
I can't. But anyway, okay, so you're saying Alania, because we keep, and it's my fault, like, also, we're topic surfing, and we are going off on major tangents that are getting us.
But I was going to bring it back to our, if you want to do the live, reaction of the toe video, because you haven't seen that yet. There's been a deep fake of Donald Trump sucking on Elon's toes.
Oh. I thought you were going in a totally different direction. I'm sorry. Okay, I want to see this right now.
So it actually was in a government office. Someone hacked the screens and played this video.
And this is the actual news story? But this is the Daily Show.
Yes, but they're going to show the video.
Oh.
Because I can't find it online places, like they're censoring it.
Why are they censoring it?
I don't know.
Oh. Damn. He's got like a big, like,
I do know.
It's like a neuroma on his foot.
Yeah, and you can see it's 2 left feet. You see?
I didn't even notice that. They don't look like good feet.
No, but
look, those two, they're really not attractive men.
No.
Like, we better let's turn that off because her talking, like, you know.
You won't be able to hear it. We're good.
Oh, good. Okay. They're two very ugly men doing something absolutely reprehensible. Talk about murder. I think what he's doing right now is worse.
And it was played at the Housing and Urban Development Office. Someone hacked, I'm guessing, a disgruntled federal worker who was fired.
Yeah.
Deepfaked the video and played it on all the screens in HUD.
I love that they use not only 2 left feet, but the 1 foot has like a callus and like what appears to be like a neuroma in the center. Like they're not even like cute feet. You know what I mean?
And again,
and they're much bigger than
the 2 left feet I think was good because you can't get in trouble. It's like, this is clearly a fake. This is a parody, and that is protected under our freedom of speech. So
they should have used smaller feet though, because I have a feeling he probably wears like a size 8 or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that was
wow.
Good. Check it out.
Well, he did do. Remember when he was like, because Don, that video with him, kind of doing like a blowjob thing with the microphone, talking about real. Some guy having a big, or Honor Palmer, right, having a big dick, like that was totally real. And
well, he was saying at the last one they put the mic too low, and he's like, "I got to go down," like, and then he starts doing this weird.
Like
motion
sexual,
on the microphone, and then he talked about Arnold Palmer. Yeah,
he's got
seeing
problems.
him in the locker room.
I wish I hated him more. I really don't.
He's funny. He's very entertaining.
That's why we do. Democrats, every episode we might have to say this. Democrats, you better listen to us and listen to us close. You better be hiring celebrities, and you better be recruiting celebrities and recruiting good-looking people with some serious charisma. No more politicians. Nobody cares about politics in the way that they used to.
Yeah.
A lot of those people are going to be dying off. God knows that we have literally our president is 80 years old.
Geriocracy.
Geriocracy.
Yes.
It's hard. It's ridiculous. Enough with this. By the way, let's take really good care of our old people, but let's not put them in public office because that is not a place for old people. You know, I'd rather we take better care of them in our nursing homes, in our communities. Medicare would have been a good example of taking care of old people. And now even that is going to be abolished.
Yep.
Thanks to all these cuts. That's where you take care of old people. We don't revere old people by putting them in positions of power that they have no right to be in. Just like a 90-year-old should not be driving on the road.
No, it's elder abuse in some ways.
And it's abusing us with elders.
Because
it goes both ways.
What was her name? Always, not Maxine Waters, the other one.
I love Maxine Waters, but she's still around.
Yeah.
And she's actually the head of a committee. I love Maxine Waters. I went to see her speak. I thought she was an amazing public speaker, and I think she's an amazing public servant. But I think she should stop.
You've talked about this before. Like
we did. We're not going to go down that road yet.
RBG, you
pass the torch.
Exactly.
You got to pass the torch. Not when you're 89. You pass the torch when you're like 69. Because it's about the future. It's about... Now, by the way, in 2025, the stakes are so damn high, dude.
Yep.
We could achieve singularity within the year. And you know, we talked about this briefly earlier. Singularity is when AI catches up with humanity.
Yeah.
We could achieve that before the end of 2025. Okay, look, I really wanted to talk about more TV. We're not going to go down the Gabby Petito road only because it's such a rabbit hole for me, and I get so emotionally involved that it kills me to talk about it without like talking about what happened. And I think that it's going to take too long. But fuck Brian Laundrie. rest in hell, fuck the laundry family, you're pieces of shit, nice going to raise a murderer. Love is Blind, did you ever watch that shit?
Yes, I have.
All iterations or just the American?
American and, with my housemate, the, Dubai.
Housemate. There's a Dubai? You mean the Habib? It says Habib.
Yeah.
Love is Blind Habib?
Yes.
Now, is Habib a place in Dubai? I thought a Habib was like a hairdressing.
I don't know why they call it that. Love is Blind.
Okay, while you're researching, because I really don't know and I'm asking. I'm doing Love is Blind season 8 and I binged. I just happen to have an inordinate amount. Habibi? And what's Habibi? Is that a place?
We're looking it up right now.
I have, the past week I had an inordinate amount of time that I just wanted some like self-care. And Love is Blind has really filled in the holes. And it has really helped me. And it's also shown me just how fucked up humanity is and has really hardened my shell even more. Everybody is crazy. There's a few gems in there, but everybody is crazy. On season 8, have you gone this far? Because I don't want to spoil anything.
No, I've seen the first 2 seasons. There's one guy I really hated, and then I saw him on another show. It was like, oh, God.
It gets worse and worse, which means better and better as it goes along. But season 8 is the latest season. Right now, new episodes come out Friday, the February 28th. And on this season, and this is already like, I'm not spoiling anything, but one of the guys ends up telling one of his dates that he didn't vote. And I was like, I literally got so turned off. I couldn't imagine that they would stay together. And I'm not going to tell you whether they did or not. But if you were on like, and by the way, at this point, they still didn't know what each other looked like.
Yeah.
If somebody told you that they didn't vote, I can almost guarantee you'd be like, all right, thank you and goodbye. Right?
Yeah.
You would, right? It wouldn't even matter. Even if you felt like sexy vibes or anything, like you would dump.
It is definitely a turn off.
That's egregious, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's like, I just didn't
most
want to get
powerful country in the world, and you didn't vote in our elections. Like we control
the most important election of our time, and you didn't vote because, in his words, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, he didn't want to get involved, and it gets so ugly. I just don't want that. I want all positive vibes in my life.
We don't vote.
That's a reason to vote.
We're voting in a voting booth. Like you chose not to. No matter what excuse.
Dude, the ultimate positive vibe is exercising your right to vote, man, and to have your values and what you think is important in life and living as an American heard and acknowledged, right? That is the ultimate positive vibe is to vote. I don't understand that mentality, and you're in his age range. You actually are a little bit younger, so it's not like a Gen Z thing. It's like I believe.
No, that's
Gen
millennials.
Z,
Millennials have gotten.
I think he was 28.
Okay, he might. Okay.
He's on borderline, but he's still older than you. But it's such a. If that's who millennials are, like that's such a foolish and talk about that doesn't serve you well to be like, oh, I'm just gonna stick my head in the sand and hope it all works out. No, bitch.
And I feel like
you don't vote.
Was he wealthy?
I don't think so. I don't think anybody that goes on Love and Blind has money. Because they wouldn't do it. Who the hell would do that? Would you? I wouldn't. I would never do it.
I don't know, but some people are like fame.
You don't get enough
get
fame.
A good paycheck from
No,
Netflix.
I mean you probably get it okay, but I think they're more worried about like followers and like I would say for Love is Blind, the entire season, they may make $100,000. Tops for the entire season.
Yeah, reportedly it's $1,000 per week, which is not much.
They make $1,000 a week. I was way off. That show only films for 6 weeks, so they make $6,000. They probably get an additional stipend. They make it to the reunion.
$5,000 for the first, and then $1,000 per week that they stay on.
Yeah, there was no. Even if you quadrupled that, I wouldn't do it. If I was in my 20s, I would not be doing that.
And by the way, Habibi means my love, so it's Love is Blind, my love in Arabic.
Okay, let me know if I should watch it because that's the last on my list.
It was interesting.
That means
I'm not a super big fan of the show, especially with I know the concept, but you have some dirtbags.
No, they're almost all.
Yeah.
And those that aren't dirtbags are shallow. Yeah. Or are people that I wouldn't want to be friends with, or I certainly don't think that they're cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And one of the things, so the guy that I'm talking about who didn't vote, he was okay looking. He was not attractive, but he wasn't unattractive. And I think he had a good body, but just the fact that he didn't vote, he'd be out. Completely, not just, that's it. I'm glad you feel the same way, because I thought, God, am I too harsh? But no, I feel like that shows somebody's lack of character and lack of depth.
Yeah.
And if you go vote, you're going to have other flaws that I'm not going to put up with either. You know what I mean?
It shows like you don't care enough to do something that is incredibly important. And I mean, our country is a free country because people vote.
Yeah.
Like, and people fought, women had to fight for the right to vote. Black people had to fight for the right to vote.
Yes.
I have to take tests and polls, like poll taxes, all of these things that prevented people from voting. So you have like marginalized communities who have fought their entire lives, generations, to get this right. And you're just like, didn't want to get involved.
It's like, offensive.
It is, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And I feel like most cool people get it. Like, dude, you don't vote. You are a strap.
That's the problem. Like, Republicans are very good at voting. Especially older Republicans. That every time they're there, I was always at the polls with my parents. Like, I was taught from a young age, this is important.
I got blackmailed. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even, but that's for a whole separate. Might not even put that on the pod. What else? Oh my God. Okay. I'm so glad. Do you ever watch RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yes.
Okay. Are you watching the current season?
I am not. Where is it streaming? Paramount?
No, I think All Star streams on Paramount. Drag Race, we buy it because it doesn't stream.
Okay, yeah.
We buy it every year on Apple. Tim Cook, here's some more money.
Yeah, I haven't watched it because it used to be like on Amazon, and then they took off seasons and was like only the first 3 seasons. So I've seen all of those, like Bianca Del Rio. I've watched like her movie too, The Hurricane, yeah.
Oh, I can't watch their movies. It's so bad.
Her movies were pretty good. I think Netflix did the originals for her.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, she was talented on Drag Race, but I don't, outside of like seeing them in the show and supporting them in that way and giving them cash, some of their other ancillary ventures to me are too cheesy. It's too camp. It's too
a little, yeah. Hers was good. Like, I think it was like inspiring like kids or whatever to be themselves. And they had like this big show that she was putting on.
Hurricane Bianca,
yeah, she got fired from the school one, she was the school drama teacher or whatever. And
I thought it was just a movie. Like, it actually has like some inspirational message.
Yeah, it was funny, and it had an inspirational message of like people who are transgender or cross-dress doing drag. Like, they didn't want her to be the teacher anymore in school once they found out.
Oh, God. Haters. Those are the real haters, like the real ogres of the world that just have so much hate and so much vitriol for people. Dude, I love drag queens. They're amazing. They're so talented, and they are so undervalued in our society. Anyway, back to the show, which, by the way, I love and have watched every season, including All Stars, he did the show for 3 seasons called Drag You. That was abominable, and I still watched it.
I think I watched the first season, yeah.
Stupid, but it was great. Anyway, Drag Race Drag Race Classic is the best. But I will say, and I wanted your opinion on this, I believe that RuPaul favors Black contestants because there are some lip syncs that happen where my mind is blown that the Black contestant won.
Yeah.
And it's always the Black contestant that is in these like, lip syncs that are like this egregious, like, there's no way this happened. It's always that. And I wanted your opinion on it because in season 2, there was a contestant who is now banned from drag because she's such a terrible human being. Her name is Tyra Sanchez, the other Tyra. I won't spoil anything, but
I've seen season 2. I don't remember.
She won season 2.
Okay.
But she shouldn't have. And it was the first glimpse. I remember saying it then. And I was like, I feel like there was some favoritism here because the winner of season 1 was Black.
Yeah.
The winner of season 2 was Black. And there have been so many, lip syncs and maxi challenges in the show where there have been like this, just an out and out seemed like a travesty where I'm like, wait a second, that black contestant should not have won that. And I was just wondering your opinion on it.
Especially the final dances.
The lip syncs. The lip syncs for your life.
Yes, yeah.
There was a recent one, very recent, that I just watched where I was like, oh, got it. And I thought it was going to happen. And it happened again where the black contestant won. And I'm just like, what?
I think the splits and the booty drops and stuff, like those maneuvers, get the judge. Because, I mean, it's not just RuPaul, like, deciding who wins, right?
It is. The judges do the critiques, and then the lip sync is his decision.
Okay. So maybe there is favoritism.
I don't love that. And I will say, I'm not a big, I think I've said this before, I don't like it when the gays are too queeny.
Yeah.
Carson Kressley, I'm not a fan of. He's on there as a judge every once and again. Now, he does know about fashion, so if it's a fashion challenge, I don't mind. I would like to see some fresh blood. I'd like to see, like, younger and fresh, like, fresher in that way, just youthful, but also, like, perspective. I don't like, I can't remember his name. Oh, Ross Matthews. Do you know who he is? Very queeny.
I think younger, so, yes. I'm terrible with names, but I know faces.
40s, maybe 50. I don't know. But he's definitely younger than Chris.
Oh my gosh, yes, I do, yes.
But very queeny, and I just don't like him. I just don't like him. He's not, like,
yeah. Sometimes you feel like he's mean.
And cheesy.
Yeah.
And, like, gay and not cool gay. Like, he's, like, annoying gay. Yeah. I just don't want people hating on gays because they think that we're like Carson Kressley and Ross Matthews. That's not, most gays are not like that.
Yeah, that's what I've talked about before. I blame, like, mainstream television shows like Will and Grace. And
oh my God, stop. I love Will and Grace. It's so good.
But those set up the archetype for a mainstream gay. Like, that was the first time you'd see a gay person on TV. What I will say, though, is RuPaul, that's their drag race. White people choose other white people predominantly. It happens a lot. So
if it happens on Drag Race, you're saying we should we're going to get this.
Let her do what she does. Yeah. I mean, if white people do it, why can't she have some kind of bias, you know?
I like
it happens all the time.
I'm less frustrated about it now. I think you're right. Let's give Ru and Drag Race a pass because they bring so much love and joy to us. We're just going to let it go.
Yeah.
Because God loved those queens in any way, shape, color, whatever, and whoever wins, and that's the name of the game.
I don't know if you've seen it yet, but We're Here on Max. Yes. That show, good, very, sometimes heartbreaking, all the time, heartfelt.
The last season was amazing. I did not like the one with, talk about the winner, she won a drag race, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah.
Jada
Pinkett
Essence
Smith.
Hall. No, we're talking about, I think that's Will Smith's wife.
Oh, yes.
Jada Pinkett is great, and she's not trans or a drag queen. Her name is Jada Essence Hall, and she actually won. I don't think she should have won. That was one of my examples that I couldn't muster up of black favoritism on Drag Race. But she was on, and I thought she did a good job. However, a alleged sexual predator named Shangela was on season 1 and 2 of We're Here. So I stopped watching in 1 after I found that out and never went back to those seasons.
I did not know that.
Google her, Shangela. Maybe she's been cleared, but I don't think so. And I have not been on top of it.
Plus, in that community, I could see other drag queens spreading rumors.
Well, no, there's been some of late where they, of course, that's catty and they're going to spread a rumor, but I think they're calling out the, like, bad apples, like Shangela. I think one's name was either Sherry Pie or Cherry Pie.
Shangela accused of sexually assaulting adult film actor.
But there was more than one accusation.
After past suit dismissed.
So is that fresh?
This is the second. This is 2 days ago.
Oh, see? It's still happening. So I'm not going to. All right. So We're Here, season 3 through 4, and it's been.
And let's just explain what it has. I mean, We're Here is they go into small communities and empower people to be themselves, basically.
And they go into communities where drag is being abolished and saying, "Hey,
we're here.
Can we please, like, what's wrong with you?" And there was one that's past season 4, where they confronted this guy who brought his daughter to an anti-drag protest. And it was basically like this little girl who's 9 years old being.
That was me as a kid.
holding up a sign, "We don't want you, go home" type shit. It's like, isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
Like, and that was your upbringing. I'm sorry. That's so fucked up.
Protesting outside abortion clinics, all that kind of stuff,
And so, isn't that interesting that I love like familiarity breeds contempt, but I also like you reap what you sow. And it's like, guess what happened? Look, you actually end up believing the opposite of everything that you were taught.
Yeah, because it didn't make any sense when you're teaching God loves everyone except the gays, and
You know what other quote that I like?
What?
Is whatever you do to the least of your brother, you do to me.
Yes.
That's what Jesus said. So it's like, you Bible beaters in the world, like if you're not following that mantra, are you really that
Whoever's
religious?
without sin, throw the first stone. Like we all have our issues. Why are you looking for issues in other people and calling them out when
they believe in going to church because they want the church picnic, they want the camaraderie, they want to have
the Sunday
wine on
Christians,
Sundays, they want a bunch of white people, they want people that have maybe they have money and where'd you get your necklace or whatever. They want country club religion instead of what religion really is. If you're really going to follow Jesus and not what man has said to do in this life or what you want to interpret.
Yeah, and you do have, even with differences, like my mom left a church because the pastor was preaching not pro gay marriage or pro gays, but
not anti. She wanted anti.
Yes, it's like God doesn't accept them. Like the love isn't there for them. It's your devil side, like.
I know people that were kicked
black or white
when their parents found out that they were gay. They were literally kicked out of their house. 16, 18, they had no money, no nothing. They're about to go to college, they get kicked out.
Yep.
Like, it's situations that I'm now finding out with your parents where so little was given to you except for this
and I got kicked out at 18
of hate. Like, here, you do this or else, and you're like, well, no, and you still followed what they wanted, and they kicked you out anyways.
Yeah.
Just because you were gay.
Yep.
Like, I always wonder, who are these people who are judging gay people? Like, I want to talk about going into like what Bernie's doing. I want to go into these places and I want to go into their homes and I'm going to look them in the face and be like, look at you. I want to bring a mirror. And, I'm like, do you think that you're some hot shit? Look around. Do you think this is
you're
some
looking
gorgeous...
for villains and it's in the mirror the entire time.
Thank you. You made that. You're so much more articulate than I am. Yeah. I want to go into these places of these bigots and these judgmental assholes who think that they're all that. And I want to tear them down and be like, look, I think I'm looking at the shit right now.
Yeah.
You don't need to be going out into the gay communities and finding it. I'm finding it right here.
I find like those people usually, especially if you're out there protesting or you're out there actively like denigrating someone, you've repressed like homosexuality.
Or something.
Almost guaranteed.
Or something like, or maybe that like, I don't
like you don't have to be gay, but
maybe their wife doesn't want them. Maybe
the Kinsey scale,
maybe they got a small ween, like something where they just feel so less than, or the woman that's been held down and her husband doesn't like her and she's big and fat and she's not, nobody looks at her at the gym and they just, people like that, hate begets hate and violence begets violence, right? Like
the Karens of the world.
Not Karen Walker.
No, like the Karen who like
the Karen with the dog like screaming, or that guy took my purse.
Yeah, or the little girl selling water bottles for her
oh my God, yes.
School project, and the woman is behind calling the police, telling them that there's black people trying to intrude in the building.
It's so nuts. You just reminded me. I wasn't going to mention this one, but we got to wrap up our TV talk. But Dateline, I love Dateline. I love all of those, but Dateline is my favorite. They recently did a Susan Smith special. She's still in prison. She killed her 2 kids, but she tried to blame it on a black guy that had carjacked her. And even in the 90s, without cameras.
Yes, I remember.
Do you know the story?
That is one of the Datelines that I have seen and watched like fully through. Because sometimes it gets too graphic, and I'm like, Maria
because they show the crime scene. They talk. Oh yeah, they sliced her neck,
and they brutally describe the details. So it's like it gets into your head. Like just seeing the pictures, you can look away or whatever if you're uncomfortable. But they're brutally describing the details.
That's real life.
Yeah, but then it gets stuck. I'm a very visual person.
Like the squirrel.
Yeah, like the squirrel.
I'll never forget.
Or like the mirror analogy. It's like I'm good at visually picturing things, and it's good for analogies and that kind of thing. But then things like the murder. Or the way that the murder happened.
Yes. Like
they scooped their eyeballs out or something. It was like, no.
So you don't like slasher movies?
It depends. Like some of them that have gone like the highly realistic route, No. Like, there's the Babysitter movie, also on Netflix, another good one. There's Babysitter 1 and 2.
I watched that, yeah.
That one's funny. Like, the head chop off, and it's like...
Well, because it's almost to the point of camp. I don't like those as much, but both those movies are very entertaining.
Yes. So
I
that
like more
okay
like
with.
dark slashers.
Yeah.
Like, I even like In a Violent Nature on Shudder. Have you watched that?
I have not. On Shudder?
One of the most horrific kill scenes ever was in the first one, and it's already been greenlit for a second. But yeah, Susan Smith, so she was blaming black guys even back then. And what's pathetic, 30 years later, and we still see it. And now they're labeling them as Karens, but what are they really? They're just racist pieces of shit. They're still doing it 30 years later, and they're still calling out this supposed black guy around every corner that's committing these crimes or taking away from the Girl Scouts or doing whatever, carjacking.
Yeah.
To me, it's so shitty and so lame, and we shouldn't put up with it.
No, and I think
every Karen should be called out, even if it's your neighbor.
Yeah.
If she's a Karen,
and people know what a Karen is, and it has a bad connotation. Like,
not bad enough.
I remember getting called a tree hugger and a snowflake. Like, for basically anything. Like, anything that was not Republican side. Like, electric cars.
Oh, you're a snowflake. But that's kind of like a gig calling you, like, feminine. Or gay.
Or, like,
snowflake is like limp wrist, like gay. To me, that's what it sounds like. But then those same people, I would just be like, whatever.
Okay,
fag.
boomer. Okay, boomer.
I would just be like, whatever. Even if they're a straight guy, I'd be like, whatever, fag. Look at you. You got no dick.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, it's time to like fight back. That's why aside from good looking celebrities, we also need some fighters, man. I don't care if you're Democrat or you're a Republican. I care a little bit because I want the Democrats to win. But dude, be a fighter. We need some fighters, man. No more politicians. We need no politicians and more of all the stuff that we've talked about ad nauseum. That's what we need. Because there are too many Karens in the world. There are you know who, oh my God. All right. So honorable mention to Scamanda. Have you listened to the Scamanda podcast?
I have not. No, I've seen it's popular though.
It's so popular and it's addictive. It was like crack for me. I could not stop listening to it. It is now a little 4-episode series on Hulu with the podcasters. They don't even say as much as the action. So you got to listen to the podcast first because the show isn't as juicy.
Yeah.
But this bitch, I don't want to spoil it, but this bitch who faked cancer, she should talk about life in prison. And I will say this, she did not get life in prison. She did not get nearly the amount of punishment talk about how many lives she destroyed. She is, what's worse than a Karen? A Debbie? Like, I don't know. Like, she is the fucking Debbie Downer derelict.
I did see, like, I know, ABC, because Disney owns Hulu, so it was like a 8-minute thing, and they showed, like, brief details. I saw, mainly it's because she got the church people, like, no one questioned. She even passed out at church, and, like...
They were still defending her.
Yeah.
She actually tried to fight back and like, get the law involved, because let's face it, our criminal justice system is still flawed. Our court system is so flawed, all this frivolous shit, that, remember how we talked about before that some people have too many rights?
Yeah.
I think rights should be earned, not just given, especially in this country where people abuse them. You know, like she fought, I don't want to give too much away because it's so good and I want you to watch it so we can talk about it more. But that's the epitome of what is wrong with our society, where she used that religious beard to shield her and to prop her up. Meanwhile, the biggest scumbag, the least pious person there was the one preaching the most. That everybody there was looking up to.
Yep.
And she was the biggest scumbag in society right there. Stealing from everybody, lying to everybody.
In some ways, I feel...
I'm so pissed.
Almost bad for her because it's
do not. No,
but I'm saying
that's a snowflake right there. Do not feel bad for a fucking criminal. Feel bad for all the people that they hurt.
Yes, of course. But what I'm saying is like how do you get into the mental state where you do what you did, and you have to live with yourself every day. Like I don't understand. Like
she was denying it even after she got caught to her friends.
Yeah, and it's like I get that you're in too deep.
Oh
and like eventually, like, but once you're exposed, like you can't even admit that. It's like I don't
give them an out though, because it proliferates.
No, I don't feel bad in that way. It's like I feel bad that this happened, but her mental state is so confusing. Like, I feel bad for that mental state. Not for her in particular, but it's like...
Don't you think you should feel more anger towards this bitch that hurt so many people?
Of course.
Stole from so many people. There was a girl there that didn't have 2 nickels to rub together.
Yeah.
And she gave her like $600. She didn't have shit, dude. She
I've seen her electric bill. Tithing.
And she gave $600 and felt like she was doing something good for the world because she was saying, if I could just help her live another week, it meant that my life had meaning. She didn't say this. Like, I'm totally making,
no, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That sentiment.
But that person was so lost in life that she was looking for a reason, for meaning in her own life, that she would give her last dollar to this bitch that was lying about having cancer and gladly took that money.
To be honest, and I know this personally from growing up, but the whole concept of tithing, it's like you're taught God will punish you if you don't tithe because you're stealing from him. Like, God is the reason you have that money.
That's
and you
not
have
true,
to give
though. God gives free will. God gives you all.
Yeah, but you're in a church with a preacher with a
who makes money.
Exactly. That's it.
Well, yeah,
and that's why it was so easy in the church for her to do what she did, because that sentiment is already there of I have to give, and it will fulfill me. It will make me feel better.
Look, I give to fulfill me. I don't give to the church anymore, but I did when I was younger.
Yeah,
my parents sure as hell did. God knows my parents probably gave, in today's dollars, hundreds of thousands in today's dollars to the Catholic Church. For real. And I'm offended by that because I can do a lot to help people and animals with a couple $100,000. But you do have to give, because giving back isn't that, I feel it's part of goodness.
But it's like using our guilt against us.
Right. Yeah. That's a whole different kind.
And the money is not going, like, you're being told this is what you need to do.
Tithing is different than generosity.
Yes.
And playing it, what's that term? Like playing it forward or paying it forward.
Yes.
And like, and I don't think there's a modern word for it. Like, it's just called generosity. Like, if you have some, even if you have a little, if you give a little of that, it makes me feel good.
Yes.
I like it. I like helping people. I love helping people.
You talked about that guy in the convenience store. Didn't have enough money to buy his.
I love that story.
So, it's like, it's not saying don't give or whatever. It's like, make sure you know what you're giving to and don't be guilted into doing something.
Give because it's in your heart.
Yes.
You want to do something kind. You don't give because you feel like some biblical obligation.
Exactly.
Or that the people that are supposed to love you, like your fellow congregants, are going to shun you if you don't give to the offering.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Like, they pay to be like in a fraternity and sorority. Yep. That's why religion, we're going to talk about this more in another episode, but religion has gotten to be such a beard. I think that we should get rid of some religious freedom in this country. I do, because it's too much of a shield. It's too much of a beard. I mean, there was a woman on TikTok who's like a spiritual, this is like a outlandish.
Are you talking about apple cider vinegar thing?
Oh, I don't know what her name is, but basically the Brian Koberger, the guy who allegedly killed all those people in the party house. The girl said it was this other woman that committed the murders, and she's representing herself in trial. And she told the judge, she's like, look, you're discriminating against me on my spiritual beliefs. Like, this is my religion. Like, I'm a psychic. I can,
Yeah.
And the judge is like, what are you talking about? Like, this is insane. But that can be said for people that say, you're discriminating against me for my religious beliefs. Maybe your beliefs are so extreme that we have to look at it differently.
When your beliefs start to impact me, that is when there needs to be some kind of line.
When your religion starts to cross over the lines that ensure my safety and my comfort, that's where your freedoms end.
Church and state. There was supposed to be a separation.
That's the problem in this country. That's the problem in this country.
Yeah.
And now we have a government that's even more church and state instead of less in 2025. 100%. Which means we got to bring that shit down.
Well, we like electing either Catholics or Christians. Like, Trump,
that's because
Trump said
the majority
in this church and that he read the Bible, but we all know the truth.
I love that picture of him holding it
the Bible
upside down. He does make me laugh.
He does,
bit.
yeah.
When the wind blows
like,
and his hair almost comes off. Like,
yes. It's like, of course, when you're holding the Bible, you couldn't even hold, like, it it shows the farce in itself, and that's the funny part. It's like, we all know.
He's walking off the stage. I'm just waiting for like a big old fart. I'm waiting for because that's him, man. And I love that about him. But I'd rather he quit and go back on The Apprentice and do that, because I did watch the show and I liked him. I thought he was great. Now I despise them, except for Ivanka. And I don't like her, but I don't despise her. But they all did such a good job on the show. Even fucking Don and Eric Trump did a good, Don Jr. did a good job on that show. But that's where they belong, because it's too dangerous where they are now. Now they're fucking with people's lives.
Exactly.
Like literally, this is life and death.
Or Elon, go back to...
Yeah, fuck Elania.
Go back to whatever company you want to, buy, or Twitter. I don't know. You don't need to be
Twitter's going to go under. It's going to go under, but just a matter of when. And we should, just like who's buying Tesla these days, dude, anybody who's on Twitter at this point, if you have a problem with where America is going, you best not be buying from Home Depot and on Twitter and, you know what I mean, buying Tesla.
He's going to make it a payment service now, a peer-to-peer payment service, because the CFPB is gone, so they won't be able to regulate. Are there still people, you haven't told me any statistics about Twitter. Are people still on there? No Democrat should be on Twitter. Nobody who's ashamed of where we are right now as a country should be on Twitter. And they still are. Twitter has 650 million monthly active users and 200 to 300 million a day.
And what was it 4 months ago?
I don't have statistics by month, because it's not reported that way, but it has been going up over the years since 2020. Yes, it has increased. I mean,
that's impossible. Twitter's been going down since he took over.
But here's what I was going to say.
That can't be.
He is the one reporting the numbers, and he also would have the ability to create bot accounts, being inside the system, and you need to have enough users to generate enough ad revenue, to sell advertisement space to companies. So we don't know if these numbers are real.
I know, but there's a real place to get accurate numbers, because there has to be an area of our government that he hasn't hacked into yet that we can say, because everybody was saying that Twitter was going down even before the election. And now that everybody hates Elania, I mean, Sheryl Crow sold her Tesla. Everybody I know is off Twitter.
Yeah, but
except for the celebrities,
it's still very popular.
Every celebrity should be off Twitter. What are they on? Why are they giving speeches at the Oscars and still on Twitter? What the fuck?
Yeah. Backlink reports that X had 245 million daily active users worldwide in January. And they're a private firm, so they did their own independent research. So it looks decent.
Well, that's not good. But to me, that's a sign that we have a lot of hypocrites on all sides. Democrats included, celebrities included, all these people that are like, I'm better than you. Follow what I say. I can give speeches on this, and I'm a good person. Just happens to be a celebrity, but then why are you still on Twitter, bitch? All right, love you, everybody. See you next time. We read and have a brain, and we don't get our news on Facebook. But most people are dumb, and although we don't claim to know much of anything, we have common sense and a little street smarts. And these are just our opinions based on what we know. Despite that, we have to make exuberantly clear that this is just entertainment and maybe a little bit of therapy for us. So everything we say is alleged times 10 all the way every day.